Ever wondered what Souls-like games would look like without FromSoftware pulling the strings? Well, buckle up, because today, we're diving into 20 incredible Souls-like games you must play, not by FromSoftware. And trust me, some of these are so wild, you'll be asking how you missed them. Let's get into it. Ever play a game that feels like stepping into a dream you're not sure is peaceful or dangerous? That's Ashen. It drops you into this hauntingly quiet world where the sun's gone missing and everything's cast in soft, dusty light. It's beautiful, but it never lets you forget that danger's just around the corner. The combat hits that perfect sweet spot. Slow, weighty, and all about timing. But what really pulls you in is the way it encourages exploration without constantly holding your hand. You'll wander through crumbling ruins, eerie forests, and forgotten halls, sometimes running into other players who just silently join your journey. No usernames, no fuss. It's weirdly immersive and kind of brilliant. There's this whole vibe of building something out of nothing as you help rebuild a town and slowly watch it come back to life, which gives the game a real sense of progress beyond just leveling up. It's not flashy or loud, but if you're into atmospheric games that blend mystery, challenge, and a bit of that lonely, hopeful feeling, Ashen is one of those under-the-radar gems that seriously deserves your time. You ever play something so weird and cool that you have no idea what's going on, but you can't stop playing anyway? That's Grime in a nutshell. It throws you into this surreal, twisted world where everything looks like it crawled out of a bizarre dream. And somehow, you've got a black hole for a head. Yeah, seriously. But what makes it so addictive is how the combat just clicks. Fast, aggressive, and super responsive with this awesome mechanic where you absorb enemies' attacks instead of blocking them. Every fight feels like a test of reflexes and timing, and as you push deeper into the world, things only get stranger in the best way possible. You'll unlock new powers, uncover cryptic bits of lore, and wander through environments that are both haunting and kind of beautiful in a messed up way. It's definitely not your average action game, but if you're into games that challenge you and leave you thinking, what the hell did I just experience? Grime is something you've got to check out. You ever imagine what would happen if a fairy tale took a wrong turn into nightmare territory? That's exactly the vibe Lies of P throws at you, and honestly, it's kind of brilliant. You're dropped into this grim, twisted world full of creepy mechanical enemies and crumbling streets that feel like they've seen way too much darkness. And you're right in the middle of it, fighting to survive with a blade in one hand and style in the other. The combat is tight, super responsive, and rewards skillful dodging and well-timed strikes. But what really grabbed me was the way you can mix and match weapons to fit your playstyle. It's got that deep, satisfying feel where every fight is its own puzzle. And the story? It's way more layered than you'd expect, full of mystery and eerie choices that mess with your head in a good way. But if you're into games that challenge your reflexes, pull you in with atmosphere, and aren't afraid to get a little dark, this one's absolutely worth your time. You know that feeling when a game throws you into two different worlds at once and expects you to survive both? Lords of the Fallen 2023 takes that idea and runs wild with it, letting you bounce between the world of the living and the land of the dead in real time. And yet it gets intense fast. The coolest part is how that dual realm system actually changes how you approach exploration and combat. Like when you die, you don't just respawn, you shift into the other realm and keep going, but with everything feeling a whole lot more cursed. The fights hit hard, the bosses are massive, and the whole atmosphere is soaked in this eerie, dark fantasy vibe that makes every corner feel dangerous but also insanely beautiful. Whether you're swinging giant swords or casting deadly magic, it always feels like you're just one wrong move away from getting wrecked, which honestly makes every win feel even better. If you're into Souls-like games with a twist and want something that looks next-gen and plays with real depth, this one's got plenty to sink your teeth into. You ever play a game that makes you feel like a total badass 1 second, then completely humbles you the next? That's Nioh in a nutshell. It throws you into this brutal, war-torn version of feudal Japan packed with deadly samurai, wild demons, and fast technical combat that doesn't hold your hand for a second. What makes it hit different is the stance system. You're constantly switching between high, mid, and low stances, depending on how aggressive or defensive you want to be. And once it clicks, it feels insanely good. Every fight turns into a little dance of dodging, blocking, and striking at just the right moment. And when you finally beat that one boss who's been stomping you for an hour, yeah, nothing beats that feeling. Add in the deep gear customization, some slick magic, and ninja tools, and a world that's as stylish as it is dangerous. And you've got a game that demands focus, but rewards you with some of the most satisfying action out there. Ever play a game where you're not just fighting enemies, you're slicing off their limbs to steal their gear? The Surge 2 goes all in on that idea, and it's honestly way more fun than it should be. You're dropped into a chaotic, futuristic city, crawling with rogue machines, armored soldiers, and all kinds of cybernetic nightmares. And the only way to survive is to gear up fast and hit hard. The real hook is the combat. It's super precise, and the ability to target enemy body parts adds this extra layer of strategy that makes every fight feel personal. You're constantly weighing risk and reward. Do you go for the quick kill, or try to cut off that armored leg to craft something awesome later? The world's gritty and unpredictable, full of branching paths and secrets, and even though the setting's high-tech, it still manages to feel grounded and dangerous. If you're into tough-as-nails action games with a unique twist and love the feeling of earning every upgrade through skill and persistence, The Surge 2 definitely deserves a spot on your playlist. You know that moment in a game where you think you've got it all figured out and then it flips the rules on you? That's Mortal Shell all the way. It throws you into this dark, decaying world where nothing feels quite alive, but everything definitely wants you dead. And instead of rolling out a big list of stats and builds, it hands you a handful of mysterious warrior shells to inhabit, each one totally changing how you fight. The combat feels heavy and deliberate, almost like every swing is a commitment. But what makes it really stand out is the hardened mechanic. You can literally turn to stone mid-action to block an incoming hit. And when you time it just right, it feels insanely satisfying. It's got that tough but fair vibe where patience and timing matter way more than button mashing. And the atmosphere just pulls you in with all its eerie whispers and unsettling beauty. If you like your Souls-likes with a twist and appreciate a game that respects your skill without overwhelming you with noise, Mortal Shell is seriously worth diving into. Ever wonder what you'd get if a Souls-like and a co-op shooter had a wild, chaotic baby? That's Remnant 2, and man, it goes way harder than you'd expect. You're diving through these alternate worlds that feel like a mashup of fantasy, sci-fi, and horror, each one with its own bizarre enemies, brutal bosses, and totally different vibes. And the coolest part? No two playthroughs are exactly the same. The game actually randomizes parts of the story, dungeons, and even the world layouts, so exploring with friends feels fresh every time. Combat's fast and punchy. You're dodging, shooting, swapping weapons mid-fight, and pulling off clutch moments, that make you feel like a legend. Add in a bunch of distinct classes, customizable builds, and secret gear hidden all over the place, and it's the kind of game that makes you say, all right, one more run, even when you know you should probably sleep. If you like your action intense, your world's weird, and your challenge is legit, Remnant 2 absolutely delivers. Ever jump into a game and instantly feel like you've stepped into someone's haunting fever dream in the best way possible? That's Blasphemous. It throws you into this dark, twisted world dripping with religious symbolism and gothic horror, where every enemy looks like it crawled out of a nightmare, and the lore feels like a mysterious puzzle you're piecing together one cryptic whisper at a time. The 2D combat is super tight fast, brutal, and totally unforgiving if you get sloppy. But once it clicks, it's so satisfying to string together dodges, strikes, and executions like you're on some cursed holy crusade. The art style is insane, too hand-drawn pixel art that's both beautiful and seriously disturbing, like you're exploring a cathedral made of sorrow. There's a real sense of weight to every boss fight, and the world is packed with hidden paths and upgrades that reward curiosity and risk. If you're into games that challenge you, creep you out a little, and completely pull you into their world, Blasphemous is one of those rare gems that stays with you long after the credits roll. You ever wonder what Dark Souls would feel like if it got squished into a grim, side-scrolling world with hand-drawn nightmares around every corner? That's Salt and Sanctuary, and it absolutely nails that eerie, punishing vibe while doing its own thing. The combat feels gritty and weighty. You've got stamina to manage, brutal bosses to read like a book, and a huge skill tree that lets you shape your build exactly how you want. But what really gets you is the world itself. It's this gloomy, interconnected labyrinth filled with secrets, traps, shortcuts, and creepy lore that slowly unravels the more you explore. It's got that classic die, learn, try again loop that makes every victory feel earned, and the risk of losing your salt when you fall keeps every fight tense. Whether you're wielding a giant sword, tossing fire from afar, or sneaking around with daggers, it's got options that make replaying feel fresh every time. Or if you're into intense 2D action and love that mix of challenge and mystery, Salt and Sanctuary is one of those games that quietly hooks you and doesn't let go. Ever played a game where every time you die, your character literally ages? That's what makes Chronos, Before the Ashes, so different and honestly kind of brilliant. It's a Souls-like with a twist where getting knocked down doesn't just reset your progress, it actually changes how your character grows. At first you're fast and sharp with melee, but as you get older, your body slows down while your magic skills get stronger. And that progression adds a whole new layer of strategy. The game drops you into this moody, atmospheric world full of strange ruins, creepy creatures, and puzzles that make you feel like you're digging into some forgotten myth. Combat's methodical. You've really got to learn enemy patterns and time your dodges just right. And the bosses, they hit hard and look awesome. It's not trying to be as brutally tough as some other games in the genre, but that's kind of the point. It's more about the journey, the changes your character goes through, and the mystery pulling you deeper into its world. If you're into games that blend action, story, and a cool mechanic you haven't seen before, Chronos is totally worth your time. You ever dive into a game thinking it'll just be a chill side-scroller, and then suddenly realize you've been playing for hours, completely lost in its world? That's Hollow Knight. It throws you into this hauntingly beautiful underground kingdom full of secrets, strange bugs, and eerie vibes, and from the moment you start exploring, it's like you can't stop. The controls feel razor sharp, with smooth, snappy combat and tight platforming that constantly keeps you on your toes. Every corner hides something new, maybe a hidden boss, a shortcut, or some cryptic piece of lore that makes you rethink what's really going on down there. The world design is incredible, with paths that loop around and connect in ways that feel genius once you figure them out. And the way you slowly unlock new powers and movement abilities makes the whole place open up in such a satisfying way. It's tough, yeah, but never unfair. Every death teaches you something, and every victory feels like a real win. If you haven't tried it yet, Hollow Knight is one of those games that just grabs you and stays with you long after the credits roll. Ever played a game where the combat just clicks, and suddenly you're dodging, slashing, and parrying like you've been training for it your whole life? That's what Thymesia does. It drops you into a plague-ridden kingdom with slick, lightning-fast action that rewards timing and aggression in all the right ways. You play as Corvus, a masked warrior who can steal enemy abilities mid-fight and turn them right back against them, which feels incredibly satisfying when pulled off. The world is dark and gritty, full of eerie atmosphere and twisted enemy designs that keep you on edge. But it's the flow of combat jumping between quick dodges, deadly claw strikes, and plague weapon combos that really makes it shine. The bosses are brutal, but fair, pushing you to learn their patterns and make every move count. It's not the longest game out there, but it packs serious punch if you're craving that Souls-like intensity without the massive time sink. Thymesia feels like a hidden gem that action fans should absolutely have on their radar. Ever wondered what it would feel like if Dark Souls had guns and you could take your friends along for the ride? That's basically the vibe you get with Remnant, from the Ashes, a gritty post-apocalyptic shooter that throws you into a wrecked world crawling with monstrous creatures and surreal bosses. It's got that tough-as-nails combat where every dodge, shot, and reload matters, but what really makes it stand out is how it mixes precise gunplay with melee in a way that's super satisfying. The environments shift from overgrown cities to alien wastelands, and every area is packed with secrets, loot, and those oh crap moments where a boss stomps in out of nowhere. Plus, the game's world changes every time you play, so even replays feel fresh. Whether you're rolling solo or teaming up with friends, there's always this sense that you're surviving something huge together. If you're into games that challenge you, but also reward smart thinking and teamwork, Remnant is one of those under-the-radar gems that totally delivers. Ever thought, what if Dark Souls took a detour through deep space and landed on a haunted space station? That's the kind of twisted, atmospheric ride Hellpoint takes you on, and it's wild in the best way. You're dropped into this derelict sci-fi world called Irid Novo, where everything feels eerie, off, and just waiting to jump you. The combat is weighty and precise, with a ton of weird weapons and abilities to mess around with, but what really keeps it interesting is the way the world shifts depending on the station's orbit. Yeah, there's literally a black hole in the sky changing how enemies behave. It's moody, unpredictable, and every corner you turn feels like it might hold some creepy secret or a brutal ambush. If you're into games that feel experimental, challenging, and a little unnerving, Hellpoint is a seriously underrated experience that deserves way more love than it gets. Ever get the itch to play something Souls-like, but with a gritty sci-fi twist and some seriously satisfying limb-chopping action? That's exactly where the Surge comes in. It throws you into a future where everything's gone sideways, and the only way to survive is by literally ripping high-tech gear off your enemies and strapping it onto yourself. The combat is super tactical and brutal in the best way. It's not just about dodging and swinging, you've got to think about which body part to target if you want better loot. And the setting? Picture grimy industrial complexes, malfunctioning tech, and creepy exosuits roaming around looking to ruin your day. What really makes this game stand out is how it rewards precision and risk. Every fight feels like a high-stakes duel, and upgrading your gear never stops feeling awesome. It's one of those games that might fly under the radar, but totally deserves a spot in the collection for anyone who loves intense action and a unique dystopian vibe.
Damn it, why don't you listen? You need to upgrade your power core or replace it, otherwise you ain't getting through that door.
You know that rush you get when a game smacks you in the face with challenge but hooks you so hard you just can't put it down? That's Nioh 2 in a nutshell, a fast, brutal, and deeply rewarding action RPG that throws you into a stunning, supernatural version of Sengoku-era Japan, packed with deadly yokai, samurai warriors, and gorgeous, eerie landscapes. The combat is sharp and punishing in the best way, with tons of weapon types, deep skill trees, and this fluid stance system that makes every fight feel like a dance of death. It's all about timing, reflexes, and mastering your build. But the real kicker? You're not just some lone warrior, you're part human, part yokai yourself, which means you get to tap into these insanely cool powers mid-battle that feel like flipping a switch from calculated precision to raw destruction. It's the kind of game that respects your time and skill, constantly pushing you but making every victory feel earned. And if you're into fast-paced, no-nonsense action with a splash of myth and grit, Nioh 2 is absolutely one of those hidden masterpieces you need to dive into. Ever stumble into a game expecting a chill little adventure and then get totally pulled into something way more magical and addictive than you thought? That's exactly what happened to me with Asterigos, Curse of the Stars. It's one of those games that sneaks up on you with its charm, then keeps you hooked with satisfying combat and a world that begs to be explored. You play as this young warrior girl diving into a lost city full of myth, mystery, and monsters. And what really caught me off guard was how smooth and flexible the gameplay feels. Like you can switch between different weapon styles on the fly, and every setup feels fun in its own way. The world design gives off this colorful but slightly haunting vibe, kind of like a dream where you never quite know what's around the corner. And the deeper you go, the more you realize there's an actual story worth following too. It's got just enough Souls-like flavor to feel intense without being punishing. And honestly, for a game that flew under most people's radar, it delivers way more than you'd expect. So if you're into action RPGs with heart, style, and just the right amount of challenge, don't let this one slip by. You ever play a game that just grabs you right from the first sword clash and doesn't let go? That's exactly what Wolong Fallen Dynasty did to me. It throws you into this chaotic, war-torn version of ancient China that's dripping with dark fantasy and absolutely packed with intense, fast-paced action. The combat is where it shines most. It's super fluid and responsive, all about timing your deflects just right and unleashing these slick martial arts-inspired moves that make every fight feel like a duel straight out of a movie. The vibe is gritty but stylish, with twisted demons roaming battlefields and legendary warriors are showing up at every turn. And there's this momentum to the whole experience that makes you want to keep pushing forward, no matter how tough it gets. You've got cool gear, elemental wizardry, and this clever morale system that totally changes how each encounter plays out depending on your performance. It's the kind of game that rewards patience, skill, and just enough boldness to take that risky swing. And if you're into action RPGs that actually make you feel like a badass once you get the hang of it, this one's absolutely worth jumping into.
Truth. I ended up in this village after fleeing from the brutalities of war. My father, who worked for the government, passed away, and I became separated from the rest of my family. I long for the day when I can find him, and we can be together once more. How have such unworldly things found their way here?
If you've ever wondered what it feels like to be caught between life and death, swinging a giant weapon in a brutal world full of twisted creatures and forgotten gods, then Death's Gambit. Afterlife is your ticket to that dark fantasy ride. And it's an intense one. Right off the bat, it hooks you with its moody pixel art style that somehow feels both nostalgic and fresh. But it's the gameplay that really keeps you locked in. Tight, weighty combat where every move counts, and bosses that push you to really learn the rhythm of each fight. There's this cool blend of platforming, exploration, and deep RPG systems that lets you shape your character around your style, whether you like slashing with brute force or messing with time and range tricks. And the world? It's layered with secrets, lore, and these moments that make you pause and go, whoa, what did I just walk into? It doesn't hold your hand, but that's the fun. Figuring out the path, finding new powers, and slowly becoming this unstoppable force through trial, error, and a bit of stubborn determination. It's challenging, sure, but super rewarding in that classic one more try kind of way. And if you're into games that really make you earn your victories, this one should absolutely be on your radar. All right, folks, that wraps up our little dive into 20 incredible Souls-like games you've got to check out. And hey, none of them are from FromSoftware, which makes the list even more fun to explore. If you had a good time hanging out, maybe drop a like, toss a comment down below with your favorites or any hidden gems I missed. And if you're into this kind of chill gaming content, hitting that subscribe button would mean a lot. No pressure, just happy to have you here, whether you're watching with coffee in hand or grinding through your own boss battles. Catch you in the next one, and until then, take care and keep gaming.